right. Hey, Wayne, what you playing today?
Okay, this is well, okay, the actual pronunciation is supposed to be Guacamelee,
Okay.
but I'm going to pronounce it Guacamelee because I spent many years playing Dungeons and Dragons without anybody actually telling me that melee was pronounced melee, so I'm just going to keep pronouncing it melee.
I had the same experience with Smash Brothers. Melee.
Okay, yeah, and the other thing is that when I was actually talking to the guys over at Drinkbox Studios who made this game, they were pronouncing it Guacamelee.
Okay, perfect.
So it's like, if it's okay with the developers, then damn it, I'm going to pronounce it exactly the same way myself.
Right out. So, this right off the bat, this looks like an old-fashioned 2D beat 'em up. Am I accurate?
That is actually accurate. Yeah, the guys at Drinkbox Studios, they decided that they wanted to make a Metroidvania-style 2D platformer, but in this fantastical world of Mexican wrestlers. How do you pronounce that? Is it luchador or lucador?
I believe it's luchador.
Luchador. Okay, so yes. So this is the guy. He actually starts out as just an ordinary, somewhat strong person in the Mexican village, whose name I forget. And then dies.
Okay.
And is immediately magically transformed into a luchador.
Excellent.
And now he's got to save El Presidente's daughter, because this being Mexico, can't be El Presidente's daughter. Yeah, so it's got to be El Presidente's daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now he's just got to run around and beat the bad guys, as you would expect from any classic 80s or 90s brawler.
Right. And
using his sweet wrestling moves.
Right. And these villains right up that you're playing here look kind of like Mexican Day of the Dead type.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Is that the Drinkbox guys, they actually kind of pulled a Grim Fandango, and they were heavily influenced by Mexican culture and the whole Day of the Dead thing. In this case, that's because there's an evil villain whose name is Calaca, who is a undead wrestling spirit dude, and whoops, I died.
Okay.
I should have been paying more attention. And and so what he's trying to do is he's trying to bridge the gap between the real world and the dead world.
Okay.
So then all of them are fused, and you have to stop that using your sweet wrestling moves.
Excellent. And can I assume this is a little bit silly?
Yes, it's totally silly. It's it's actually, well, okay, if you're Canadian, then we can proudly say that this is like a local production. It was made in Toronto by Drinkbox Studios, it's basically the whole thing is that they just want to have fun with it. It's like they don't take the video game plot seriously at all. It's just a pure 90s or 80s arcade trip, and it's also full of memes. Many memes. They've just got references to video game culture and pop culture just scattered around everywhere. It's like, I haven't actually found it yet, but I've been told by the developers themselves that what? No, okay.
There's something secret.
Yeah, there is something secret, which it's like apparently I'm not supposed to be talking about just yet.
Okay, fair enough.
This is still very early on in the game, so the guy does not actually have all of his powers yet.
Okay. But what's that entail once he starts getting it?
Basically, he will learn, it's like various wrestling moves to inflict more damage. Right now, I'm just doing his little dodge, which... Oh, and there's a giant chicken. What's up with that? Oh, see, there we go.
Oh, nice.
It's like
Throw the chicken through the spikes.
Yeah, I already knew that, but we'll see how good. Oh, see this. Okay, this is the other thing that you have to keep in mind about this game, is that I would not actually recommend this to... I just died again. Oh my god. I would not actually recommend this game to casual players.
Right.
Just because
has the intense difficulty of the old side.
They wanted to make a classic Metroidvania game, and the difficulty level is there to match. So if you haven't been playing these kind of 2D platformers for a while, you're actually going to be in a world of hurt, because there are some portions where the game actually requires quite a bit of skill. It's like you really have to time your jumps. There's also an RPG Lite system, which I'm looking at over here, where you can buy abilities and all that, but apparently I haven't made enough money to buy any of them, so I'm just going to have to keep on going.
Yeah, the animation's amazing. It looks like a living cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things about this game is that it was the whole premise of this actually came from one of the artists at Drinkbox.
Okay.
It wasn't something that they it's like sat down and the director and all that it's like had a meeting about it and settled on it. It's just that they happen to have an artist who is Mexican, and from it's like what I've been hearing, basically he just it's like talked about this stuff, and the entire studio just fell in love with the idea of doing a wacky Mexican inspired game, because well, how often do you see that happening?
Yeah.
Well, okay, maybe in a Suda51 game, since he also seems to like luchadors
This
a
is
lot.
very true. But there's normally many things going on. in
Yeah,
Suda
exactly.
51,
What,
not
am I
just
supposed to? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm supposed to jump over here. I'm trying to see how long it'll take before I can get to. Wait, can I even go here, or have I been here before?
Right. So how long of an experience all told?
This is actually a relatively short game.
Okay.
The total play time for experienced gamers, you can probably wrap this up in about 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
Other people who are not so experienced, there will be certain points where you'll find just a totally crazy difficulty spike,
Okay.
and you may be stuck there because in addition to the fairly precise platforming, there's also a mechanic later on in the game where you will actually be able to switch at will between the dead and living dimensions. And when that happens, they've got these really elaborate platforming sequences where not only will you have to do the precise platforming as you'd expect, but you'll also have to do it while switching dimensions, because some of the platforms will only appear in the dead dimension, while other ones will only appear in the living dimension.
Right, right.
So yeah, what that means is that all of that stuff is actually controlled by using the the R2 and the L1 buttons, which makes for a lot of pretty crazy finger gymnastics. I was actually, stuck on quite a few of those sequences myself until I, finally, went back and played Rayman for a bit. Basically, just had to
Get your skills back.
Yeah, exactly. Because Rayman was another one of those games where it's we're not making this for beginners, and Drinkbox pretty much had the same notion going with this game over here. Treasure.
That's great. So this is DLC for both Xbox and PlayStation?
No, actually, this particular one, this is a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
Oh, great.
Actually, it actually falls under the. Oh, well, I finally get a. I've got a power here. Let's just go and see what the goat says.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the way it works, is that you go and find the statues and you break them. And once you break them, the goat transforms into a grumpy wizard, your sensei, yeah. And he bestows upon you a superpower every time you break one of those statues. Even though he actually likes the statues, and he's, pretty pissed off when you do it.
Okay.
But what was I saying? Yeah, this is a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
Right.
Actually, I shouldn't say PlayStation 3 exclusive. It's also available on the Vita.
On the Vita, okay.
Yeah, this is it's one of those really weird things where you can play the game on your Vita, or you can play it on the PS3, or if you've got both, it's actually also a local co-op game.
Oh, wow.
What you can do is two people can get the controls, and they can play the game in local co-op, or one person can play with a regular DualShock controller, while the other person can play with the Vita.
Oh, cool.
And use it that way. Or if you're playing just by yourself and you want to use the Vita, then the Vita becomes a Wii U controller, where you actually have a permanent map open on the Vita that you can just go and look down on, while you're actually playing the game using the Vita itself as a controller.
That's very creative.
Yeah, so it's oh, there we go. I just learned one of my very first moves.
Nice.
The uppercut.
How many moves are there in this?
Oh man, there's
a dozen.
Less than that, I think. I think there's about 10 moves or something like that. But in true, Metroid and Castlevania fashion, those moves will allow you to gain access to certain areas of the level that you couldn't get to before. Blah blah blah.
So lots of backtracking.
Yeah, which is what I'm doing now, where now I can punch through the red blocks and use it to get to previously inaccessible levels.
Right.
But yeah, actually. That's the game. I would like to talk more about it, but to do so would give away some of the ludicrous plot, and
Gotcha.
You'd miss out on some of the hilarious memes, and Lord knows we wouldn't want that. So.
Gotcha. Well, I really like the look of it. I'm a big fan of the nostalgic 2D gaming, and this looks like one of the more polished efforts I've seen.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, it's Drinkbox have done a really great job with this. It's the artwork is there, the music is it's really fun, and if you're one of those persons that enjoys memes aplenty, then you just have to keep an eye out for all kinds of references, Angry Birds, and it's like references to video game outlets like Destructoid and all that sort of thing. It's like it's a very clever game made by people that really love gaming culture and movies, and it's like if you've got a sharp eye, you'll be able to see that all throughout the game.
Excellent. All right. Well, sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.